Welcome back to the Bay Area Examiner Film Room. I'm Seth Varnadore. This week we're taking a look at USF's big win against UTSA on national television. Obviously, story earlier was the defense. Then the offense got going, and USF cruised to a big victory on ESPN on a Thursday night. So let's go ahead and get into it here. We'll start with the first play of the game. Why not, right? Kickoffs for a touchback. One thing it looked like is USF was really going to – it felt like – I'm not sure if they're just playing off the zone, but it certainly feels like in this game multiple times you're seeing them slant up front and then bring edge pressure behind it with a safety or the nickel in this case here. Not afraid to play man coverage. It seemed like the thought was, and it makes total sense, right, when you're talking about UTSA, you want to stop the run first, and then once you stop the run, you can kind of work on the pass stuff. That McCown has not shown the ability to I don't think really pick you apart too much. He was a really dink and dunk so far, but you end up holding Henry to 25 yards or so on 10 carries. Really held the run game in check for the most part. So, in fact, let's see what the advanced stats say on that game. Yeah, not great. EPA per rush, not very good early in the first half. So this is kind of the thought here. And initially is you're going to, you got the slant here, and you're going to, UTSA is going to attempt to under center play action pass. The tight end releases vertical. The back is coming to the flat. The corner ends up taking him. And then your blitzer is just free. Makes this thing have to be thrown early. UTSA is just really running corner, flat, crosser, just boot action. Nothing crazy. Kind of your normal boot action here. Seeing if they can sneak one early. Overthrow it. Because getting hit, you kind of have a lane possibly for the crosser if the pressure's not there, but the pressure's there, forces the throw high. Ward comes, picks it off, and has an escort down the sideline for a touchdown on play one of the game. So here's another look at kind of USF kind of really, I think, keying on the run, and you're seeing it looks like a slant here, bringing pressure off the backside edge. Gaskin is able to trip up Henry before he gets going, and then Mac Harris does a really good job cleaning this up here. So slant, good job kind of muddying this up, and then Mac Harris keeps himself free. Also, the slant kind of keeps him free, right? They're having to double. They're not getting up to the backer. He's coming here. He's having to take him. So Mac Harris is able to kind of track the ball and then fall back to it when it comes backside. And then a great stick there for the tackle. Similar look, kind of first and goal. UTSA just kind of dinked and dunked the ball down the field, which, most college teams will let you do that because eventually you're going to screw it up for the most part. Don't really see much slant here, but you do get, I'm not sure if this is called pressure or if he just has the ability to play this run here. What you're bringing kind of two here, how it plays out is the tight end's going to have to block one of them. The receiver, I think that what they thought is they might be able to get down and the receiver could dig this out. And if it's like duo, I could bounce it possibly if that's what they're looking for. But the tight end can't get down. The receiver can't get down. So Jalen Schuler shoots the gap here. And then Jarvis Lee cleans it up. Big play on first and goal. So now they end up getting the first down on a pass interference call, which somewhat bogus. But again, first and goal, you're going to see pressure off the edge. And here it looks like you're getting not just slant, but it looks like you're getting a kind of pinch inside, right? So they might be slanting or pinching to a certain front, right? Because they're showing an even front. So maybe they're slanting, right, to a different front here, or just everyone's slanting a gap inside. You can really see it here, right? Watch the movement here. Really hard inside move. And it seemed like the other thing they were doing is they were really like, and maybe this is just a couple plays and it just made it stuck out of my head, and maybe I didn't watch it back enough to, but it seemed like they were really rushing the mesh. So, not giving a lot of time for RPO stuff when the quarterback's showing the ball right to the back. That's the mesh point. And it seemed like they were just charging that mesh and making them make quick decisions. Because right here, doesn't play the fake at all. UTSA is trying to make it look like split zone and then also hide the receiver. So you got two coming back here. So it's kind of an interesting concept, right? A lot of times you'll see split zone, one guy coming back, and sometimes they'll slip that guy to the flat. But here, they're going to slip this guy and go split zone. USF does a pretty good job of seeing it. Tavin Ward is maybe beat, probably beat. Maybe sees that a little late, but this Jarvis Lee comes off the edge clean, gets all up in McCown, knocks the ball off, and then Gaskin is able to catch this thing in the air and hit it 100 miles an hour for a touchdown. So USF's up 14, and they haven't had the football yet. Always a pretty good day to start that way. So after it trade drives, UTSA ends up kicking a field goal. USF's back on 2nd and 3. So they're going to go dart here after the motion. So motion, trying to widen somebody out of the box and then come back and pull the tackle. So this thing ends up being down blocked. I'm not sure if they have a rule if they want to down block that totally, or if he's got the ability to pull up inside, or if this is just a called almost like more like a counter instead of like power look. But it's a dart, so we're down, down, down. Quarterback can pull it here. And you'll see the next play, the quarterback run game, kind of not only does obviously you have a great athlete in Byram that can run this. And UTSA does a pretty decent job with it, right? So he's going to take the dive guy, and this safety's stepping up for quarterback. And this is one where, on the board, right, on the chalkboard with a marker, the dry erase board, great call by UTSA, right? Great call for the run. Almost baits you into pulling it with this support player coming up, but the chalkboard, nobody has to make a tackle on the chalkboard. Nobody has to make a tackle on the whiteboard. So, and nobody has to tackle like a 235-pound dude that can move. So it looks great in theory. This is in reality. Byron Brown, again, jumps over somebody. Great run. And so you'll see here what his running ability can do for the running game. Because right here you've got to look where you're just running zone. Right, we're stepping left. He's not going to split it. He's going to be more of like a slip, so he can kind of lead block. Back's going to the zone side. Byram can pull this and follow the tight end here, the H-back, as he comes around. And look at the play. So right here, look at the play Byram gets right after this handoff. So right there, he's frozen. He's obviously out here, so he stops. But even he kind of jumps over a gap a little bit. And USF gets to reach on the front side and sets up a big hole here for Davenport. But just that little bit of movement right here, you can see the backer, right, steps up. This backer right here. Because if he doesn't step up and kind of towards Byram, he's kind of flat, he's going to fit up in this hole. But him stepping up and over towards Byram, when he turns back around, the guard is coming to get him, right? They're off the double team there. I'm sorry, it's the center, Cole Best, coming up off the double and kind of building that alley for the back, and then really good run by the back. So The quarterback run stuff, it's obviously nice to have just the quarterback running, but it also really kind of greases the run game a little bit as well. So let's go ahead and look at the old tush push here. Up in the press box, I'm sitting next to Nathan Bond. We're talking, and we're like, please, no tush push. Because they've tried the tush push a few times this year. Hasn't been great. I don't know if they've converted on it a single time. But you had to think in the back of your head, because they weren't great at it, they may be running that to set something up in the future, potentially, because you kept coming back to it. Well, here's possibly one of the things. I'm sure they have multiple things off of it, but here's one. So looks like the tush push, get everybody inside, get dudes jumping over the pile, get a little bit of probably a little bit of pinch here from UTSA. So everyone's just trying to get in there. Backers walked up. Good block here initially, and then I'm going to have 2 lead blockers there for not enough guys. The linebacker is so high up, he's kind of has to run through some trash here. And then it helps when Byram can break that tackle right there, and go into the end zone. So nice change up on the old tush push here, and really good run by Byram. But even if you get tackled there, you got a first down. So good design, good run, all in all, good stuff. So here's the touchdown. Put this on here because it's pretty well covered initially. Seems like he's going to post, and then he's going to come out like he's blocking initially, and then try to kind of sneak down the sideline on the wheel. Very possible he steps out of bounds. So you get reverse. Put this on, because right here, right, you're in pretty good position. So you've got somebody on it. The play is kind of dead, and then you just kind of lose him. I think you may think you've pushed him out here, but you just lose him down the sideline. And he's able to make a really good play in space. But you had it pretty well covered, I think, at first. And you had the post shot covered up over the top. Just kind of end up sneaking that one by you there at the end there. So a little bit unlucky. Very possibly stepped out of bounds. The referee's hat came off. I don't know if he threw it off, signaling the guy was out of bounds. You can see it right here. Or I don't know if it fell off. You cannot see the hat on his head there at the end. Regardless, somebody handed him the hat back. He didn't throw it, apparently. Maybe it just fell off. So, all right, so here's a nice little – so I don't know if this is like a dash look. So dash sometimes is you'll have a hitch or something, a quick, easy throw here, that if they give it to me for free, basically, I can take it. Otherwise, I'm going to look here first, and then I'm going to roll. And this is just a simple flood concept. So you're going to get a vertical. You're going to get like a 10-yard out. And the back is going to be the person in the flat. The tight end here is going to stay and help the protection. So this is super basic. You see this kind of everywhere. So, right, if I'm looking here initially, you can see his eyes. Look here. He's up. That's not a free gift. I'll look just to keep the timing of it. Then I'm rolling. And then all it is super easy read for the quarterback. Vertical should clear this thing out. If it doesn't, I can take that shot. After that, I can kind of high-low this guy right here. He gets a little too low. Good throw by Byram. And good catch there for like a 12-yard gain. So like a 12-yard out here. Just a classic flood concept. Tried and true football here. Nothing revolutionary. Good foundational solid stuff. So here you go, a little pin and pull. You get some a tight formation. You don't really have an edge here. The corners are way off here. So you have nobody kind of setting this edge, especially if you can block a little bit with your receivers. And USF does that, and they're going to pin and pull here. So they're going to go down. Right? It's almost it's really kind of buck sweep with the quarterback. Down. Pull the front side guard. Looks like they're pulling the back side guard as well. And then you have the running back as another blocker here. So down. The backside puller you kind of do such a good job down blocking here. The backside puller maybe could get more depth here, but it's a wide pull, so he's got to get out fast. He gets blown up. So you lose your backside puller, who would probably be coming here, right? So you're going to have another puller, and then your backside puller is coming as well. So you lose a puller here. So another one on the board, you got 3-on-3, but regardless, you got 2-on-2 here, and then, coaches, you tell backs, if I can get you matched one-on-one with a safety, that's your job. I can't draw it up any better, right? If I get you one-on-one with a safety, it's your job to win that. Byram is pretty good at doing that. Really good cut, and then gets vertical downfield here. So should have had a second puller. He got caught up with all the trash, but really good job down blocking up front, getting those two guys out, and then Byram makes it work. So this one looks like they were kind of coming back to the screen and go look here. I'm not sure if he's there. Singleton ends up winning late, and his guy falls down for a little bit. So good job by Byram, right? We've talked about his turnover issues a ton. So good job not forcing it, readjusting the pocket, finding Singleton. Somewhat fortunate that guy falls down, but good ball placement, good catch, touchdown. And really good stuff is you don't just force one in here, right? 1st and 10, don't need to force it. Find the open guy, use your legs, touchdown. All right, so this is a really cool one. So this is something you see a ton, or you'll see people do with RPO stuff. But, right, if I gave you a guess, what coverage do you think this guy's running? Right? He's up on the line of scrimmage. Okay. Pretty good main indicator, but not always, right? His eyes are directly on the receiver, right? I got no eyes inside for anything right here. So that would give me probably a pretty good main indicator. So this is a nice design here. They're going to have this receiver go in and crack. So he's going to push crack. They're just running simple zone here. But when he cracks and goes in, it's man coverage. He thinks he might be running a shallow, might be running a slant. I'm going to follow him inside. So I follow him inside. And now the safety that's coming down to fill, well, I'm coming to crack him. So there you go. I cracked the safety that comes down. He's still not quite sure what's going on, which I think at this point you may know what's going on, but he's still not sure. You'll see he's looking back. He thinks Byron might still have it. And then, there you go. And that's how you get him slipped out the front so easily. It's just a little adjustment, just a tiny adjustment with the receiver blocking, right? So instead of just having him, it's still probably a decent play if he's here and your tackle ends up getting, because you'll see the tackle here, because he jumps inside, if I just block him, I end up getting there. But making the receiver go inside, you get a 2-for-1 here. Bang. There's your second one. And then a really good job here. You got to point out Jonathan Eccles here. Really, this touchdown is because of his block here. Gives Davenport just enough time, and Davenport's able to just avoid falling, keep his balance long enough here to score the touchdown. So really good stuff. And that all starts with a tiny adjustment to the other receiver's blocking. All right, so this is a play I really enjoy every time they run it. They're going to run a counter. And a lot of times, teams will run counter and they'll pull, the guard from this side and the H-back from this side, and people start to see that and they start to, playing for it, set their front for that. So USF always has done this since Golish has been here. It's one of his staple plays. They're going to pull from the back side and they're going to pull the H-back from the front side. So he's going to go in and then return back. So if people try to play opposite the H-back for the counter stuff, this is like a nice changeup. So this one doesn't go for a huge play, but it's a pretty good one. You end up avoiding the fumble here. But they run it with Byram later, and it's really cool. So I want to show the initial setup here of that counter, and it's one of my favorite run plays they do. I think it's really, really slick, and they do a good job with it. You end up not getting the fumble there, so that's good. Right here, you're coming. It looks like you're doing kind of hard to tell with the view here what he's doing, but he's definitely running a vertical route. And we talked earlier about the flood route, right? You had a guy short, you had a guy clearing out, you had a guy short, and then you had a guy intermediate, and you could high-low somebody, right? So USF's going to get there. You're going to have a short. You're going to have an intermediate. Well, I think backwards, but still, you're going to have a short, you're going to have an intermediate. And it's very possible. So let's fix that right here. I don't want to lead you astray. So he's going to be the intermediate guy. He's going to be the short guy. This is also could be drive, and it's very possible. I'm not sure if he has a go or a post. He could have a post. And this could be drive where he's a shallow and he's kind of a dig, but the way he rounds it, it's almost more like a crosser, I think. And then the back is working to the flat. Could be drive, which is a West Coast staple. But good job, scramble dribble by Isaac, right? You always hear the scramble dribble. If you're deep, come shallow. If you're shallow, go deep. He's shallow. He goes deep. Good job by Byram, resetting his feet there and making an accurate throw down the field to pick up a big gain in the passing game. All right, so this one's just straight go ball. Really well thrown. Good hand fighting here by Singleton. Right? They're both kind of playing this one. I like how he, right here, you kind of see at the top here, he sees the ball in the air. Instead of just kind of putting his arm out and extending, he slows himself down a little bit, lets him run into it. The corner kind of engages with his hands first, and then I can kind of push his hands away and create that separation and a really well-thrown ball. Let's watch this whole thing over again, but it's just straight. It's just a straight go route. I don't know if it could be choice, right? So you're going to have this where I'm kind of occupying this safety. And so then it's truly one-on-one out here. And if it is choice, he could run a go. I think he could run a post, and he could run that comeback where he keeps coming back until he gets it. If you play college football 26, you'll see this concept in the USF playbook. They chose to go, and Byram delivers a nice catchable ball here for the touchdown. Also, peep his eyes right initially, looks left to try to hold or move the safety a little bit, then finds this safety. So right, look here with the fake, he's held, and then now my next job is find that guy. And then once I see him take the bait here, I can work outside. He's on the go. Really well thrown ball. Good catch. Touchdown. So this movement by USF continues to give problems to UTSA all night. And again, it's like slanting and then bringing pressure off the backside. And I think this is probably the other part of it you don't see because it's a run play. But this guy will read run first. And then I think if it's pass, he can bail. So it is kind of like a simulated pressure, but he's looking run first. You see him kind of pedal. Then he does a good job of recognizing it's a pull and working to get over the top. But from the backside, right, he's trying to protect his puller. He beats him across face. Great job, makes a play in the backfield there and effectively kills another run play. So kind of the same deal here. And you can see here where you're going to bring 5. And so what happens here is he's up the line of scrimmage, so they're going to slide this way. So 1, 2, 3 for 1, 2, 3. So now I've got 1, 2, and the back would be my third on the back side, right? For 1, 2, and then whoever 3 is, right? 3 could be one of these guys. But the third rusher back that way, right? So if I bring 2, I'm hot. If I bring 1 from either side, potentially could be hot, right? So, but USF, great design here, gets them to set it here. and then they're going to bring the 5th rusher from here. So you're going to end up where you're bringing 5. You've got 5 guys blocking, right? So right here, I bring 5. Seems like he's stepping up, looking at him as his kind of, okay, that's who I'm reading. If he's not blitzing, I can get out in the route, so I don't need to be involved in the protection. Right? I don't need to be out in the protection if he's not blitzing, or I don't need to be in the protection if he's blitzing. I can get out for a route. So he's looking at Mac Harris. You see Max Harris doesn't blitz. He leaves. Well, what's happened here? I slid 3 guys this way. I've only got 1, 2 to block. Backside, I've got 2 on 2, but unfortunately for UTSA, USF is bringing a 3rd. So they bring him. Mac Harris is just matching the back and man coverage here. So kind of confuses the protection scheme here for UTSA. That's how Lee's able to come off so free for the sack on a pretty, obviously it's 42-10, so it's not a huge play at this point, but 3rd and 4 going from field goal range possibly, right, in a big game. Could be field goal range to now you're at the 40, probably out of most kickers' field goal range, right? So really good design there. All right, into half, trying to get some more points. So go switch release verticals here. I don't know if he's got – so they're going to motion here and then switch release. I don't know if it's a called go, if he's reading that as well and breaks it off. I'm not sure if they can all have the option to break it off or go. It's possible. But how it ends up playing out is you get Singleton one-on-one. Byram does a good job stepping up in the pocket, giving him a catchable ball down the field. You got one-on-one coverage. He goes up and makes a great catch. So 2-minute drill, great way to start the old 2-minute drill there with a huge chunk play. You end up getting a field goal out of it before the half, and now we're into the second half here. 2nd and 4. Deep dig, really well thrown ball here. So they're going to run kind of a through route to take the top off. A dig here off the play action. Byram ends up coming back to the dig route. Takes it for a 1st down. Then this is the one I was talking about earlier where you're going to get the same action here where we'll be down, 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 gap seal hinge, kick, return. The cool the change in action, the cool kind of action here is faking to the back across, and then he comes and picks up the backside end. So I can really – what that allows my backside tackle to really step down and cover up for that pulling guard. It's because my back can work off. I don't have to kind of slowly sift or anything. Just go. He comes off the edge. We're protected. Kick out does a great job. Tight end does a good job getting up inside. Nice run and nice little wrinkle there off this kind of counter return look. Good down blocks, kick, wrap. Byram does a good job reading it, getting up inside and getting what he can. Nice run there. Then you're running, it looks like it might be kind of invert, kind of corner out with the inside stem, speed out, corner turns and runs with the vertical, speed out all day. It's almost shielded, take it, easy 1st down. And then this is just downhill running behind your pads. Don't want to tackle you. Not sure if it's duo. You got a condensed set here. Back just hits it on the back side, and then this is all power and will right there. So really good stuff from USF once again. Most of the games this year have been fun to go back and rewatch, so that's good. Hopefully it continues this week against the Navy. Regardless, we'll be back next week with another edition of the Bay Area Examiner Film Room. Thank you guys for subscribing on Patreon. If you're watching on this YouTube and you want to get this early, like everyone on Patreon did, you can join us patreon.com/the Bay Area Examiner. Advanced stats previews, guests. We got weekly guests come on to preview teams that cover those teams in depth. And then the film room, you get a little bit early. So $10 a month to get you those extra podcasts, one extra each week, and then the film room, so 2 extra podcasts each week. So 8 kind of extra pieces of content a month during the football season, and we'll continue it as we can in the basketball as well. So thank you guys for being patrons. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week on the Bay Area Examiner Film Room.